Thank you once again for being part of such a fervent interaction. This session has rightly given us an excellent coverage of the startups. Once again, a big thank you to all the dignitaries for your presence.
Discussion. So, we hand over the session to the panel discussion team.
Thank you, sir. Standing on the threshold of the next phase of life, students
Shows a commitment to their field of study.
And hence, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back after a sumptuous lunch to the panel discussion, second of the day. So, the topic for the panel discussion is startups and the ingredients for its success.
So for this panel discussion, I solicit the following dignitaries to kindly make themselves comfortable on the dais. Industry representatives, Mr. S.S. Suravse, General Manager, District Industry Center, Maharashtra Government. Mr. Rahul Amritkar, CEO, MIDC R&D Directory. Mr. Vikrant Malve, Delivery Manager, Tieto.
We also have with us entrepreneurs Mr. Akshay Ambekar, Ms. Shahiba Dhandania, Purpose Squirrel Adventures.
Also, the expertise students for the day will be Pratik Gade, student from the Department of Information Technology, Akanksha Vani, student from the Department of Computer Engineering. Along with it, we have with us Mr. Dinesh Anantwar as the moderator of the discussion.
I solicit them to kindly make themselves comfortable on the dais.
So, I request them to take the place in dais.
Over to you, Ashwini.
The latest report by industry body NASSCOM and Nciii analyzes the current scenario and emerging attractive for investors, startups and corporates.
With over 5 billion worth rupees investment in 2015 and 3 or 4 steps towards emerging the startups every day, India has paved its way to secure the 3rd position in the world in terms of numbers of startups. 4,200 and counting, a growth of 40% by the end of 2015.
Thank you, Aishwarya and Ashwini, for the amazing statistics. Now with this, I hand over to Mr. Dinesh Anantwar to please proceed with the discussion.
Thank you, students. My name is Dinesh Anantwar. I'll be moderating this session. The topic is very interesting. It is about startups and the ingredients for success for the startups. I would say gone are the days, like 20 years back in India, the days were of closed economy. The industries were protected, the taxation was very high, getting permissions to start companies was very difficult. The change in the industry was very less. Today's world is a globalized world. We see that Indian companies operating in different parts of the globe. Indians are working in different parts of the globe. The permissions are much easier. We had Mr. Amritkar talking about it in the morning half, how the permissions are easy and things of that sort. Along with that, so the bigger industries have grown and they have strong presence here. The interesting change is the startups. And you youngsters are mainly responsible for it, highly energetic, intelligent, knowledgeable, ready to take risk, ready to bring in that change in the industrial area, and you're the ones who are starting startups. So we will be discussing about what are those ingredients for success for the startup. I'm sure many of you will end up being, entrepreneurs, coming up with your own startups. So I'm sure you will be interested to know from these dignitaries on the dais. These are highly experienced people. They are entrepreneurs. They are very senior people in the government who can tell us, how startups can succeed. What are those ingredients for success? So who would like to take it up in terms of what are those ingredients according to you?
We also have with us Mr. Vikas Bapat, the director of Nciii Solutions Private Limited. I solicit Mr. Dinesh Anantwar to kindly felicitate Mr. Vikas Bapat.
So in the panel, who would like to go first? Those ingredients for success from startup. Would you like to go first?
Hi everybody. Actually, I was supposed to have the last session, but looks like everybody is getting tired. So I kind of suggested, and there were few panel members were missing. So I thought I can just take an impromptu change and make it quick also everybody, so that they don't have to wait, and I don't want to see that I'm having a last session and nobody's there in front of me.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I represent Pccoe Solutions. I'm director, founder director. I can say we are a startup, and everybody, any company running for any number of years is still startup. So when you're saying ingredients for startup, basically I think I would use a couple of points which I was going to use in my actual opportunities for internship. I would say main difference between a student life and a professional life, which a lot of people are not able to understand, because typically people talk about a student life and professional life. They will talk about business ethics, they will talk about commitment, they will talk about basically a lot of other parameters which I'm sure you have heard from morning. But very few people think when you are doing entrepreneurship, or whether you are doing employee as in another company, you need to understand, till you are a student, you were a customer. You were paying somebody to get the services. And when you move from a student life to the entrepreneurship, or even as an employee, you are becoming a vendor. And now most of the people know what does it mean by a customer versus a vendor. And once you inculcate that difference in your mind, I think most of the other points will automatically start getting into your system, whether it's called your body itself as an ecosystem. To develop that itself will start very good, because you need to understand that value of what you are providing. Your salary is coming from somewhere else, and you are not paying somebody. So again, I will go more specific on some of the points, but I think I will stop here with the first point as basically inculcating values, that entrepreneur, you need to be looking at yourself as a vendor, and then go into the market, whatever you are developing, and don't just think that you have some idea and it will just sell in the world.
आता दिसतंय का मगापेक्षा चांगलं?
In the continuation of this part, I suggest there should be an exam for a startup entrepreneurs. This is the only sector, the entrepreneurship is the only sector which is not decided by any kind of a merits of the academics. It is decided you have to give exam every day. So there should be some kind of a systematic approach shall be borne by the government. This is kind of a requirement from a industry background, as entrepreneurs are not educated for the system. government system basically. What are the things, mandatory things, what are the things need to be done at the time, and if we not do it, what will be the award and what will be the punishment. But in our current government process, there is no award. I'm sorry to say. Our joint director, state government is here, but there is no award for a timely completions. There are only punishments. So entrepreneurship is basically full of punishment. Who would like to take this punishment for an entire life? Shall come and become a startup company. This is kind of a basic ingredient to have this discussion and to have this kind of a topic, because this is not an easy cake. The people who think it is an easy cake, it is very difficult when they come into the process and when they face the challenges. So this is kind of a start of a discussion. I would like to hand over to the government. From the horse's mouth, we would like to hear something.
Good afternoon. This is regarding again startup. So very quite, you can say that the common terms nowadays from the last 2-3 months we are listening about. And our Honorable Prime Minister has announced the Startup India and Stand Up India, that particular campaign. Now, as far as the industry promotions are concerned, government are having a very proactive roles, and they are supporting for the industries in a big way. That is again for large industries as well as you can say that the MSME. Now in MSME sector, most of the industries are startups. They are starting on a first time or a first, we can say that the first generation entrepreneurs. And apart from that, industrial promotion, the facilities and the law previously might be little bit difficult. I agree with that. But even now in the last decade, because of the, we can say that the availability of the knowledge, and we can say that the knowledge-based industries are coming over there. And from 2000 onwards, there are a lot of scope for knowledge-based industries, and lot of startups has started their functions. Even recently, the government has initiated that Make in India campaign. It was just again for promotion of industries and the promotion of basically the Indian industries in India to manufacture the, we can say that the word-based technology, word-based products, and that is again to be supported for industrial development. Now with this, in the January this 2016, the Startup India campaign was announced, and we can say that now to start any new venture, the innovative or a new technology, it is very simple. On the 1st April of this coming month, there will be a mobile app on that app is coming, and that app we can register the startup. So now the simplifications in the, we can say that the licenses and clearances required for the new industries and the startup are very simple, and the government is basically focusing for that.
I work into product development. Okay, I work for product development in one of the MNCs, technologies. One question for your audience. How many of you are interested in starting a startup?
Oh, that's a big number. I'm so happy.
Yeah. How many of you are ready to wait for 5 years?
Wow.
How many of you are ready to wait for 20 years? Okay. So if I talk about one of the startups, Amazon, that started some 20 years back, in 1995 or so, and now we are in 2016. Yeah? Still not much in profits. They have a turnover of around 95 billion US dollars, but peanuts of profits. So if I talk about next generation startups, then it really means you need to wait. You need to have an idea, you need to wait for years. The balls of the games have changed. It it is no old economy now. It is totally new concept. Earlier, when you started a project, you already had some budget, you had some schedule. But today's startups, they are more like a new idea. You don't know how long it takes. You don't know how much it takes. But it really means you need to work hard. You need to believe in your idea. You need to work out it over years. And then one day you really get a success. Yeah.
Well, good afternoon everybody. Before we go ahead, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Akshay Ambekar and I'm an alumni of Pccoe of 2009 batch. It's really a great feeling to be back on this dais. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you. So it's like a deja vu feeling back again here because I was on this dais in 2008 and 2009 for this Tech Legend event and this is still going in full force. So yeah, it feels really nice. Having said that, I'm the youngest of all and the most inexperienced in all this extreme, panel dignitaries we have over here. But there are a few things I would like to point out. Like sir had asked how many of you are really interested to become an entrepreneur. A lot of you were very exciting about it, how you want to become an entrepreneur. But what is it like to be an entrepreneur? What you have to do to become an entrepreneur? What you don't have to do to become an entrepreneur? That is very important. And mind you, success is highly appreciated. Failure is not appreciated in India. But it is good to fail because the earlier you fail, the earlier you understand why you failed and what you have to do for success. So before I proceed, I'd like to tell you my background a bit. I worked for 6.5, 7 years with L&T Limited. I changed my roles from service, sales, product marketing, and finally when I left L&T in October, November, that time I was a functional consultant in SAP. So the only thing that remained constant during my journey in L&T was I never stopped learning. You have to constantly learn. So when I was a service engineer, I learned something different. When I was in sales, I learned something different. When I was in product marketing, I learned something different. And when I finally resigned as an SAP consultant, I learned something different. The same theory applies to startups. You have to never stop learning. You have to constantly learn. Now since I have a startup of my own, I'm learning Java, which I probably thought was an alien language in college. I'm trying to understand bits of HTML, CSS and Bootstrap, which essentially is important to, make the website run in multiple platforms and all those things. And I'm also getting an idea of how to create a bit of tables in SQL. I've crashed the project twice, but that's okay. I'm still in learning phase, right? Second important point is changing the idea that you have constantly as the market demands. So what we are into is basically into B2B e-commerce. So this idea basically started off, why don't we deal with old machines? That's what my co-founders thought. But then we had to, dynamically change the idea because we came to know that if you're dealing in old machines, the end user and the buyer will get in touch directly and you have no role. And so sir rightly pointed out, we have to have, a persistent business model where you can generate revenues. People were very patient for Amazon for 15-20 years, but they are not patient right now. They want revenues, they want growth. Third and important very point is you have to be vigilant. Totally vigilant. You have to be vigilant with the government policies. Like sir has said, there have been changes in government policies. You have to be vigilant with your competitors. You have to be vigilant with what is upcoming trends. We have spoken a lot about trends, right? So you have to speak about trends a lot. You have to be vigilant with it, how things are changing, what people are trying to do, how you can benefit people, and what you can do to stay on track of your growth. That is very important. A small example I'll give you of how vigilant you should stay. Have you heard of a startup named Roadrunner? Bangalore-based startup who has got a very good funding. Anybody knows Roadrunner? Okay, so Roadrunner basically when they started around a year back, they named their startup as Roadrunner. Finally they were caught up into legal entangles, wherein they had to change the name to Runner. So had they been vigilant, they would have probably saved a lot of embarrassment and money they have spent on marketing the whole website in general. So these are the 3 points I feel that are very important in this.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would request Mr. Suruvase if you can update us about Startup India, what government is offering, in facilities and procedures and things of that sort. I'm sure most of these people who raised hand saying that they want to begin with their startup, these inputs, what government can do for you will be very useful for you.
As far as we can say that the micro or small enterprises might be in a startup, or we can say that the common manufacturing or service activities. All it has to, some 4-5 requirement is about the, I required some small infrastructure, industrial infrastructure. I require funds, financial requirement. I have to understand the taxation system, taxation structure for that particular startup or that particular sector. Then I have to understand what are the laws and licenses, clearances that has to be obtained by a startup or SMEs. And then I have to again find out what is the market or how the market is dynamic. Now, we can say that with this aspect of this startup, the Startup India policy has catering the role to be a facilitate for a startup. If you look at the startup policies, there are almost about 19-point policy has been announced by the Government of India. That is again, we can say that whatever the certification that has to be done by the industries or any startup, now the government is permitting self-certification. Even the self-certifications from a technology tool, you can have a self-certifications on portal-based activities. For a startup, now the government has decided to have a single point contact, and that is called a startup hub. Single point contact for entire startup. So the government is creating a separate ecosystem for a startup where you can go that single window system. You can get the various clearances and we can say that the licenses required, and even again that will be required for to exchange the knowledge as well as the access the funding required for the startup. Even as I mentioned that the procedures for starting a startup, that has to be simplified, and short procedures will be required, and as I mentioned that the mobile applications will be and one online portal will be there for a startup, and we can say that within a day government has decided within a day they will register the startup and get the necessary permissions. Another point in this startup policy is about the patent protection. That is because a lot of things are there for innovation and the new ideas. The government is also working for legal support and fast-track patent examination at a lower cost. Somebody was mentioning that the patent cost is very high, but for in India now the patent will be at very we can say that a very cheaper cost, and the government will be a facilitate to give a back-end subsidies for a patent registration up to the 75% cost required for property registration. Another important point is that almost about 10,000 crore venture capital fund is to be created for a startup. That is a very big initiative from the government side, and that is a major problem in we can say that in a startup. Apart from this, the government of Maharashtra is also working on a similar type of package, similar type of policies, and recently in a Make in India week last February, the government of Maharashtra has announced 200 crore capital venture capital fund for SME startup in Maharashtra. So that is a great initiative from the government side. Even though the government is creating a credit guarantee fund that is required for a startup. So I think there are lot of initiatives in taxation, then we can say that the funding side, the clearances. So now it is very easy to we can say that to go for a startup.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Survase. Our entrepreneur friends, will you like to give some more inputs on those ingredients for success for these budding entrepreneurs? Any inputs to them? What they should have, the qualities?
Yeah, I can add a few more points. Basically, as a person who wants to start a new company, it's not about just thinking that I want to start a company. He needs to have some idea in his mind, what he thinks. It may be a product or it may be a service, but he needs to have something in his mind which is validated by somebody. It's not only having idea is enough. Again, I'm stressing on that, but it needs to be validated, and that's where a startup directly coming from a college, it would be very interesting, but definitely you need to engage with somebody who can help you validate that, help you put a business plan together, help you how to connect with a sort of customers or beta customers, and then going ahead. But at the same time, if you take an experience before and then go into that market, you would be trying your startup ideas maybe, or at least knowing the different technology tools, business part of it at somebody else's expense. So it's always not a bad idea to take a 1 or 2 years experience at somebody else's cost, learn a lot of things, what happens in the business, and take a very important role in that company. And from that perspective, it's always a good idea to join a smaller company than some of the bigger names. I'm sure they were here on the dais before, but if you join a smaller company, you kind of get to do different roles. I call it a term which I read it as a degree for one of the store repair shop person long time back from my town where I came from, called KVKD, basically Kai Vattel Te Karun Denar. So that was a term, it was written as a degree on his job and under his name. And if you work in a smaller company, you will get that which is exactly required when you are starting your company. You need to be taking a role of so many different things. Thank you.
I'll request my student friends to share their thoughts about startups, and how do you think that you will be able to succeed in that?
I want to raise a question. Government is focusing on subsidies, but what about the encouraging of innovation part, which is also important to sustain the startup? So I would like to
Now, about the innovation, not in a startup, there are actually some initiative has been taken by the government for a startup. Now, government is very proactive about the entrepreneurship and the skill development. Since from 1990s, the government is working basically for a skill development in the micro enterprises, self enterprises, and now again for a startup. Now, in the current policy announced by the government, there is an innovation core program for students about in 5 lakh schools in India. That is another initiative. There is a launch of Atal Innovation Mission, and that missions will be started to give impetus to innovation and encourage the talents among the students. The government is again going to set up 35 new incubator institution in a different sectors. Almost we have about 24 industrial sectors present in India. So some of the sectors, thrust sectors, they are coming with a separate incubator, and the government is again set up 31 innovation centers at a national level, at a national institute like IITs and ICERs and NITs. Government is again going to set up 7 new research park, that is at 6 IITs, ISCs and ICERs, and that will be costing initial investment of 100 crore rupees for each research park. Another investment is again to promote the entrepreneurship in biotechnology, that is again another thrust areas, and pharma sectors. Let me here clear another point is that the startup is not only basically we can say that innovation or something, some new trends or new technologies. Startup is like that old technology presented in a new format also. So commercialization of any ideas, that will be the market need, market requirement that has to be useful in the market. That is a startup, and government is basically focusing with the help of these particular programs. Thank you.
I would have loved to have some academia people on the panel. I don't have those, but there are academia people out here. I would like to ask them a question. What is academia doing to help startups and to help create those right personalities and right traits in the students to come up with startups? So anybody from academia will like to take it up? Yeah, there behind you. Like the kind of things that your university or college is doing, to help the startups as such, some incubation or whatever.
Good afternoon, one. Hello. Good afternoon, one and all. I would like to first thank Pccoe and all the dignitaries over there for giving us an opportunity to each one of us for interaction. Myself, SP Kulkarni, I am from Chhatrapati Shahu College of Engineering, Aurangabad. Regarding this entrepreneurship, we are planning to have an excellence. We have identified few groups of the students, those who are having inclination towards them. We have made an interaction with few expertise from the industry so that they can be groomed up. We have formed an incubation group center over there. The only thing is that students are having that potential, but that potential is required to be groomed. And I have heard a lot of things regarding government policies, and government is really helping all such programs and all that. But that mentorship which is missing, that is what point I need to have some more focus on. That mentorship is required to be have more focus on, because students are having ideas, but they are required to be given a mentorship on that. Because we are having limitations at our institute level. But if government can support them with mentorship, so that is what is we are very hoping for. So thank you for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
I would like to answer this question. See, each and everything cannot be expected from government. Government is having so many kind of roles and responsibilities. For the people who are facing this kind of problems, they should contact us, and we will be ready to facilitate them at their district level. We will provide you at mentors, good people from your field, mechanical, electrical, whichever the students are there. We will try to make the competitive arrangement, and wherever required, government is definitely proactive. As Mr. Suros has already described, government is proactive. Maharashtra government is ready to shake everything, but we cannot expect government should provide a mentors. Mentors can be provided by the industry, and this is an industry responsibility that they should provide this kind of platform. So we are ready to take up this challenge.
I just like to interject in between. Like sir asked that we, students want some mentors and all those things. But then sir, first for that they need to work somewhere for some time. They need to have some industry experience. They need to understand where the product is going to go. And based on that, then they can select the mentors. Like for example, if you are making electric bike, you can have a mentor from, say, computer engineering. You need to have a mentor from electrical field, or for example, a mechanical field. So I don't think government can play really, a big role in this. You still have to find a mentor for yourself. The teachers are there. You have to find the teachers where they are.
I think you have some input.
I would like to add on this particular line that about the mentors. Now there are some of the like NGOs, non-government organization. They are working specifically in entrepreneurships. There are a lot of institutes like EDI Ahmedabad and other institutes they are working. And even in Pune, you know that the BYST is the organization, Bharatiya Yuva Shakti Trust. They are basically working on a mentorship, mentorship technique, mentorship methodology. So they have the mentors, the mentor from the college or the industries or the retired persons they are guiding. The only thing is that basically the entrepreneurship is not taken as a career. Now there are so many we can say that issues in the society. Some people are coming to the entrepreneurship that they don't get a job. That's why they are coming for some small ventures. Some people they are working and they are just they want to copy what are the going in the market. So that type of again issues are there. But really, if you see the people and they want to start a small venture or any startup, even the unemployed people or not a professional people, they are working in every field. Now even the field like hospitality, you can see that the entrepreneur from Pune, he is making, you can say that in millions of rupees. So there is a lot of scope, but we are not taking this entrepreneurship as a basically a career option at a college level, or at, you can say that when you are passing from the college, or we normally look as a career as a we can say that a job, and then that's why the government now is focusing on the policies that instead of getting instead of a job seeker, we can provide a job, we can create a job. So that is basically a focus.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Survase, and thanks a lot everybody from the panel, the entrepreneurs and the senior executives from the government. I agree with them that government is doing what it is supposed to do. Government is a facilitator. They will facilitate. They will give you, single window approvals. They'll create the right environment for you. They've created a fund for you, and definitely there are a lot of agencies which are available to give you mentoring. Like people from Pune, there are local agencies in Pune also. Like you would have heard about thinkpune.com, Pune startups.org. So even at a city level, there are so many organizations, started by startups where you can go attend their meetings where these entrepreneurs, startup folks come, they share their problems, challenges, their best practices, they will help you out. A lot of venture capitalists, angel investors also come there and they can help you out. So I think these were wonderful inputs from all of them on the panel. I thank them for that. It was heartening to see that so many of the students wanted to become entrepreneurs, they wanted to see the startups. I'm sure you are going to change the world, you are going to change India for better. So all the best to all of you students, and thanks all the dignitaries. These were wonderful inputs. Thank you. With this, we will close this panel discussion.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Actually, we have a question.
Yeah.
We have a question.
We'd like to take the question answers now. Yeah, sure. Please mention to whom the question is. Is it for the entrepreneurs? Is it for the government senior officials?
So my question is for the sir, seated by you. You have given us a 5-point agenda. On that basis, if you are starting for the company, then you have to follow that agenda. That is infrastructure, funds, taxation system, laws, license and clear-ups, and what is the market. I have to start a company, and I have these 4 points I have studied, and these 4 points I am clear that I have to start. And just that is the 4th point that you told, laws and licenses and clear-ups. इसके बारे में थोड़ा कुछ तो बताइए कि लॉज किस के लॉज लगेंगे, कौन से लॉज की परमिशन चाहिए, कौन से लाइसेंस चाहिए होंगे मुझे अगर आईटी कंपनी चालू करनी है, और क्लियर अप्स कौन से डिपार्टमेंट से मुझे क्लियर अप चाहिए.
Now it's a very entrepreneurship is again a very, you can say that, difficult task. You come to now, there are so many organizations, so many different sales from my department, industry department. We have a Nciii sale. Nciii is hand-holding support for young entrepreneurs. You come with your ideas and your project profiles. We will guide you that what licenses, what clearances will be required and how to take up your project. Now even there are so many, as I mentioned, that there are so many portals available to them, available in the, we can say that on the various portals, the knowledge about the industries are and what are the clearances are required. Let us say you have to start a simple bakery shop. So what licenses will be required, what clearances will be required, what type of funds will be required, how much will be the, what type of, it depends. So that information is available. You come up with your project profile, you come up with your ideas, we will guide you. Now as far as the industries, I will just mention that to start the industries in India, you require almost about 78 different clearances from different departments. That is from the central government to state government. 78 different clearances will be required. Now in Make in India and Make in Maharashtra, the government is focusing to facilitate in a simplified way minimum interference of the human beings, use of technologies, and we try to reduce that. So now the licenses, clearances required in a specific sector will be almost about, they have targeted almost about 38 to 40. So it is almost, but the licenses and clearances has to be there. The law has to be there. You cannot do any activities like some polluting activities you cannot start. So that licenses, that laws are there. But definitely we will guide you. That is not like only you have to decide that I have to go in that particular field, I have to go in that particular activity.
थैंक यू सर। और विकास बापट सर ने एक बोला था कि अगर स्टार्टअप कर रहे हो तो आपको समझना चाहिए सब बातों के लिए, आपको 2 इयर्स का तो एक्सपीरियंस मिनिमम चाहिए। सर मुझे आपसे एक बात पूछनी है कि अगर मेरी टीम, मैं फ्रेशर हूँ, अगर मैं स्टार्टअप कर रहा हूँ कॉलेज ख़त्म होने के बाद, अगर मेरी टीम ही पूरी एक्सपीरियंसड हो, अगर मैं 10-12 लोगों की आईटी की टीम लेके चल रहा हूँ जो कि कंपनी से रिटायर्ड पर्सन उसमें से कुछ है और कुछ लोगों ने छोड़ दिया है क्योंकि कंपनी से वो मतलब बहुत टेंशन है इसलिए उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है, तो वो लोग मेरे साथ अगर काम कर रहे हैं, उनका एक्सपीरियंस अगर शेयर कर रहे हैं तो मैं स्टार्टअप कर सकता हूँ क्या?
Definitely, because it's not your own startup, it's entire team is working together, right? So everybody is there and you have a good amount of experience spread across the board. So that's more important. You're looking at it as a team and not just your own thing. Okay, if you start looking at it as a own thing, then you need to have everything. But when you look at it as a team, then you will get all the experiences what you need, right?
Yeah, I think from the student side there are some inputs or questions like this. Yeah.
I have a question, sir. It is a generalized one. I wanted to know if a student or a group of students are performing well in the startup. So can there be any relaxation in the academics given? If someone is performing well, we have the 7 research centers, 31 startup centers and 18 incubators. But if the student ignores his academics, then it is definitely going to hamper his marks and his further career. So can there be something done in which both can be balanced? If a student has a good idea, and can academics help him in some way?
But I am not the right person to speak on this. But then we all know Rahul Yadav, right, of Housing.com. So Rahul Yadav had taken a year's gap to found Housing.com. Once he founded it and he started the Housing.com, started moving. Later on he came back, completed and again went back to Housing.com and eventually got fired. So depends like on you can Pune University also allows you to take a break, right? You can take a year's break or something like that. You don't give the papers, you get YD and then you can do something about it. That's what I can see as of now. But then, yeah, that's what.
So, but it would create a direct impact on the career of the person. What I mean is, can we get some relaxation in the academics, like some hours dedicated to the work, which will be totally with coordination with the college only?
Yeah, I wish I'm in a position to take these decisions for the university, but I definitely would recommend at least to have a 1 semester credit, something available in the university for the projects, whether it's a startup, whether it's a project, whatever you want to do, even if you want to become an employee. And important part is that project should not be, the credit should not be given based on the project is success or a failure, but it should be the efforts taken in that specific project, how difficult things they try to achieve. It should be, again, I'm trying to give this message to the who are left here, the people from education field. Hopefully that gets conveyed, and I'm sure a lot of other people have tried doing this before. But I think it's still a long way to go to get that into the practical scenario.
On a lighter
something here. I think Pune University has some vocational courses. I mean, you can always go for sandwich engineering, wherein you can spend a year parallelly working in the industry along with your degree. Again, some degrees like Nciii, they have one 6 months, I think. Oh yeah, so wherein they can work into industry. So there are options. So anyone wants to start a startup, go with this course.
On a lighter note, if most of the students can manage their exams with one night studies, I'm sure there is a lot of time available, to get good marks in academics also and work on your startup also, even when you are in academics probably, What I would like to say is that we heard some statistics in the morning that there are 90% startups who fail. There are only 10% startups which succeed. So I think those suggestions or those statistics were shared not to discourage you, but just to prepare you for the realities. It is definitely a very exciting journey to have your own startup. It has a lot of challenges and it grooms you to become a better person also. Many of us read books like Rashmi Bansal's Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish and all that, but which has only success stories. Remember that people who succeed, they have faced failures earlier and they have no fear to face those failures. And I'm sure you, new generation, are ready for facing failures, taking challenges on your shoulders, and I'm sure you will succeed. There are a lot of parameters, so get to know. So we here got to know about the ingredients for success. Try to get to know those ingredients for failure also, and try to avoid those probably. With this, I would like to close the session. If there is one more question or something, I can take that.
So we have 2 more questions.
2 more, we'll take those 2 more questions, but last 2 questions now. Yeah.
Good evening to the panel, and I'm Himalaya Wadhwani and I'm a student. I have 2 to 3 questions, short ones. My first question is for Mr. Vikas Bapat sir. Sir, this question is regarding the previous panel discussion. It was on industry's expectation from the freshers. So I would like to, it's like a suggestion or a question that isn't it possible that the industry directly interacts with the student, or students directly can interact with the industry? Because coming from the study background, we have been studying from last 21 years, and then suddenly going into an environment where we need to work. It's quite difficult to change our perspective and attitude, everything. So is it really possible, before joining any of the company in 4th year, we can have a training from 2nd year itself?
Yeah, why not, actually? Because that is all is called internship. And if you look at the companies or the people studying outside, basically I spent about 12 years in US before coming back and starting this company. And I've seen people working on different things while they are studying. And that's a very common practice, which is very rarely we see it here. And if you go through that, in fact, in our company here, we have got till now 5 interns coming all the way from France while doing their either engineering or MBA studies in France, but they came and worked with us for 2 to 3 months. A couple of them spent almost 5 months, and most of it at their own cost, coming from all the way France. It was very difficult, but I think that working in the real environment, and again, I'm sure the student here they will raise, how do I still do my submissions and still do my exams? But I think if you really want to do something on your own, you have to get the real experience working at companies for some amount of time, and that's why you have to take extra effort. You have to find out 4 hours every day for 6 to 8 months to go one place and at least understand what happens in the business. And definitely it is possible. And as I think somebody said there, basically MCA already has a good platform, but engineering really doesn't give time as a part of the curriculum itself to do that. So you have to take those 2 extra steps to do that.
I'll take only one question from you. Who had another question? Let it be specific to startups. I'll not like to take another questions. Yeah.
Actually, we have already registered our startup, that is credcard.com, and we have been listening from a long time that government have issued 200 crores funds, and central government has also issued these funds. But no one is actually telling how to get these funds and how to approach. Everyone is telling they are issued, but how to get them?
Now, really, to start the startup, you have to make an actual plan, and then you have to go for from the government of India side, there is a venture capital fund, and from government of Maharashtra, we have make a venture fund with Nciii Venture Capital Funds Limited. So you can go with your plan and discuss with them. It is not like a fund, it is released and you come up and it will be available easily. It is not like that. Your project, your profiles is scrutinized on the different parameters, economic parameters, technical parameters, and then it will be decided to be a finance or not to be a finance.